Hey!
Happy Hump Day! Welcome back to episode 2 of building a Twitch extension with Twitch Dev and AWS, otherwise known as NPM Start Twitch Dev AWS, our clever little name. Today, what are we doing today?
Today we are following up from last episode where we sort of laid the foundation of our question and answer extension. So I've heard today's going to be a lot of live coding, right?
A lot of live coding. So if you didn't watch the first episode, you're totally fine. You can catch up now because all we did in the first episode was scope out the features, possibly what we wireframed the UI a little bit.
Yep.
We scoped out the database schema. We didn't do any of the coding yet. So today we're starting to do the code. And how can they follow along?
So if you want to follow along, we have a new GitHub repo in the Twitch Dev group. So what I'll do is I'll post this in chat in both channels right now. So I've just posted the GitHub. So we're going to push all the code, and throughout the project, we're going to be doing at least 6 more episodes, right? Or 7? Yep. Yeah. And we're going to put all the code on this repo so you can follow along, and you can even make pull requests and suggestions. And we also have a Discord channel if you want to join for this show specifically, and people have been really active. So if you sort of have like follow-up questions or suggestions, you should definitely join that group, and I'll post the link for the Discord as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion this week about serverless and SAM. I'm excited to actually share with you what I was going to do today because I saw a lot of things in chat of like, I've done this before, how do you do this? So hopefully you'll learn something today in the live coding session.
Should we take a second to just walk people through like what we're building in case they missed last episode? So what we're building is a Q&A Twitch extension. So essentially, if you're a broadcaster or you're like having a stream, you can have your viewers ask you questions using this extension. So anytime a viewer has a question, they can look in the panel and they can ask a question, and then it will essentially allow you to view them all as the broadcaster. So it's a really like nifty way to take Q&A without having to use chat, because I've definitely had experiences where people are asking all over and it can be really tough. So this will be a really organized way to have your questions for you. Especially
for a technical stream, sometimes questions that you ask might not exactly be relevant to what we're doing, but we still want to answer them and get to them. And so this is a way that we can even answer questions after the stream is over.
Yep.
And you can still get your answers.
So today we're going to be focused on building out really the backend and all these endpoints to make the Q&A app work. Should we maybe walk through the endpoints that we were thinking of last time?
Yeah, so we talked about a couple of endpoints. Well, we set out our database schema, which we decided was a table of questions. We actually created 2 tables, but it looks like we won't need the second table after a deeper review.
Oh,
we only need 1 table, which is just the question table. And we talked about what data we were going to save in the question table if you watched. If you missed it, the most important data we were going to save was user ID, channel ID, question, answer, and then whether or not it was posted to Twitch Dev forums and the link.
Should we pull up, actually, that tool we use? What was it?
dbdiagram.io.
Yeah, so last stream, we spent time on dbdiagram, and we just wrote out the schema.
Oh, can you send me the link?
Yes, so it saved it for me last time. Okay. Ooh. This is not... Okay, I'm going to post this in, and
yeah, just
I'll
post
post
the
it
table. Just post the table in
So
the
we just want the questions table now, right? No
yeah,
users
just the questions table.
Okay. So I'm going to post this in both chats as well, and I'll also link it in the GitHub so everyone can see it. If I share this, is this to add everyone as a collaborator?
Oh, yeah, I think you can share it with everyone.
Okay, so it is coming in chat right now. Boom. Oh, the URLs are... Oh, so the AWS channel has an issue where the URLs are getting censored.
Oh, so you can't... Can you just post the, like, table object?
Yeah, if Gina is in the chat, maybe she can post it because she's a mod. Or if you can make me a mod, I think mods can post it.
I think you are a moderator, look.
No, that's just the
Twitch staff.
Yeah. I need a green sword.
All right, just post this, like, object.
You need to be elevated to mod. Yeah, if someone can make me a mod on the AWS channel, or you could...
just post this little object.
Oh, you want me to post this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Okay, we're going to get off of this because we're not going to spend any time on that.
Okay, sorry, that didn't post correctly. But anyway, the idea is we have 1 table that we want to create in Dynamo. So I think we're going to start the stream with us just walking through how to create that. Do you want to talk through what Dynamo is?
Yeah, so DynamoDB is a NoSQL database, managed database offering from AWS. And it basically just works like documents, so just JSON objects. So if you create a table with 3 properties and you decide that you want a 4th property, you can just add it in at a later point in time. It's really, really flexible, extremely scalable, and it's really easy to create a table and then like not worry about it, like forget about it, because basically you can set, I'll show you the settings. So let's go ahead and create a table together. So our table is just going to be Twitch questions. And then our primary key is our user ID. And this is specifically the Twitch user ID. So what you guys log into Twitch is what we're going to save as the partition key for this table. And then we're not going to use the default settings because we need a global secondary index. Oh, actually, this is a local index. All right. We'll keep that.
So just one question on the non-relational part, because I feel like overall our data is pretty relational, but Dynamo is still a good fit, is what it seems.
Well, we only have one table.
Sure.
So we actually aren't affecting other tables with like foreign keys or anything like that. But if we did have more than one table where data was dependent on another table, we could use what's called DynamoDB transactions. It was just released at reInvent at the end of last year. It is an awesome way to basically have all of your transactions fail at once or all of them succeed. So if you have data that is in one table that is dependent on data in another table and you need to update them both at once, or you need, if one fails and the other one succeeds, that's a big problem for your data. You're going to want to use DynamoDB transactions API.
That makes sense, but what if you want to use like RDS, for example?
Yeah,
with traditional
RDS is traditional database. Relational. Like if you need a traditional relational database, you're going to want to go with RDS on AWS because it's managed. You don't have to worry about it. Database patching will be done for you. Basically, you'll have a relational database without the heavy lifting of having a relational database. And
it seems like the added benefit of using DynamoDB here is that we don't really need to think about like what size of an instance do we want. We don't need to... and then adding additional columns would cause potential issues.
We don't really have any reason to go with a relational database, and DynamoDB is super fast. It scales on demand, so you can see what I'm checking right here. So read-write capacity. I don't have to figure out what my read-write capacity is, which, by the way, if you've ever taken an AWS certification test, you know that it's a fun calculation that most of the test consists of. So I don't have to know how to calculate my read and write capacity. I can just choose on demand.
Really? So that's new, because I used this several years ago, and you'd have to supply the number of reads and writes per second.
No, this is as of reInvent. This launched at reInvent.
Wow.
It's awesome. Another reason to use DynamoDB.
So we basically don't have to deal with anything.
That's right.
We're just going to just write to it, and
it is going to scale on demand. It is going to scale up read and write capacity on demand. We don't have to deal with a single thing. We're just going to basically set it up and let it do its thing.
So let's create the table, I guess.
Let's do it. It's going to take a second to create the table. And we're going to drop an example question in it just for testing.
So you have some other tables in your account.
I do.
Okay.
It's cool.
Well, I just want to make sure people aren't confused because
we're specifically working in the Twitch questions table. Don't worry about my other tables. I do a lot of other stuff on AWS. I don't want to delete them at this time, otherwise I would for ease, but this is our table. So we do need to add a global secondary index of channel ID. And why we need to do that is because we are going to actually... So if you think about what our different gets are in this scenario of our question answer extension, we need to pull all the questions by user ID. We already know we need to do that. So that's why our partition key is user ID. But then we're also, for the broadcaster, need to pull all the questions by channel ID.
Oh, so this is it's basically like a back-end optimization on Dynamo's end.
Right.
Just so this is
so that we can pull all the questions by. So we're going to create an index, and our partition key for our index is channel ID, and that's it.
Right. So if you're a specific broadcaster, we'll just return all questions by this channel ID.
Yeah.
And then,
exactly.
Right. On the back end.
So if we were to add an item, basically our item would have a channel ID in it, right?
So this is essentially
so like if we just add one for myself.
Visual interface to the database. This tool here.
Yes. Okay. And you can also view this as like just a regular JSON object if you really prefer it. You can also view it as DynamoDB.
So you don't need to use a separate client to connect to a Dynamo. It's all in the tool. You can do that.
Yeah, you can. Okay. We're just adding a test object.
RDS,
we are actually going to post to...
With like a MySQL table, I don't think you can do that.
Well, yeah, you'd have to like access it through
this is
client.
Cool.
But yeah, you don't need an additional client. You can do all of this through Dynamo. So we are going to create a Node Express app that is going to post to this. But right now, I'm just going to throw one example question in there just so that we have like one thing of data when we're like testing.
But how does Dynamo keep the constraint of all the same keys? Because what if in another insert you, for example, like forgot to put the user ID? What would happen?
So the user ID is mandatory because it's the partition
so it checks for that.
Yeah, so it would not let me add something if it didn't have the user ID, but it would let me add something that didn't have like a channel ID.
You could put like a key of like hello and it wouldn't complain.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay, so what is my question? How do I build a serverless backend? How about that? Okay. In spirit of this episode. Okay, so there's no answer on it and there's no other properties on it yet, and we don't need them.
And we're missing last updated and created it and those other keys, but that's fine.
Oh, we can add those in.
No, I think it's fine because I think all we need right now is just those 3 things.
Okay, so now we have an object in there. All the things that you're going to do with the API, you can do right here. So you can query, you can scan, you can look up the difference between those two at a later point in time. We're only going to do a query today. A scan is a longer process that runs on the table. And that's if you're not querying by partition key or a global secondary index, which in our case we are. So.
Oh, I see. So you're saying if I want to pull like all questions that have the keyword serverless,
yep,
that would be a scan.
Yeah, and it does take longer than a query. So you want to try to use query over scan when you can, which in our case is going to be fine. We're going to use 2 queries. So now I think we're ready to actually create our Node Express app. If anybody has any questions on Dynamo, I'm happy to continue talking about it. But I think we're like ready to get to the code.
Yeah, I think we could move over. I'm wondering if we should just talk about the endpoints that we're going to build.
We can talk about them briefly. Yeah, totally.
I feel like we wrote them out.
We did.
Where did we put them? Oh, okay. So what do we have?
Yeah, just post them in the chat.
I'm going to post them in the chat, but we basically have 5 endpoints or 5 operations.
We're going to try to get through all of them today with time, but if we don't get through all of them today, we will finish coding them right after and check it into GitHub. So don't worry about it.
Posting in the channel, it doesn't maintain spacing.
Yeah, it doesn't maintain like code. Yeah, there's no like. Can you do like /code and then try?
There's no markdown. Unlikely. That's not going to work. But it's fine. I think people get the idea.
All right, post it in the other one too.
I did.
Oh, okay, it's already in there.
We just have a lot of chat activity. But anyway, so the main one is to post a question. So if a user asks a question, that would be a post to the backend. Yep. If they update a question, it's probably going to be
with an answer.
Or if you want to change the question. If you want to get all the questions by a user ID, meaning the user wants to see the questions they've asked, or the channel ID for the broadcaster.
Which we added our global secondary index.
And then we have post a user. Do we still need that? Because we're not using OAuth anymore.
No.
Yeah, so we're not going to use post a user.
We're not saving an OAuth token from Twitch because there's actually no need for us to have you log into your Twitch account because we can pull everything we need just from the Twitch extension. Yeah, so the Twitch extension will give us the context as to what channel and user ID is viewing the stream. So there we can query accordingly. Yeah, all we have to do actually from the backend is just parse the JWT token. Yep. So yeah, I guess let's hop into the Express app. Okay, so first thing I want to tell you about is the SAM CLI. Can you just post that link? Walk us through what SAM is again. I am going to walk you through what SAM is, but I wanted to bring up the actual GitHub repo, which I actually don't have up here. So it is I'm special. AWS -serverless / What was the link I sent you? Oh, did you send it to me? Yeah, no, it's in the, go back to the, it's in here. Yeah. I see. It is, here. AWS Labs, that's what it is. I'm posting it in the channels. Let's see if I can post in the AWS channel. Okay, so let's talk about what SAM is for a second. Yeah. Or not. I think it posted. What is the link? AWS Labs, there's no dash, just kidding. I'm very special today. I woke up at 6 in the morning, so I apologize for my struggles. Okay, so let's talk about SAM for a second. So if you've never worked with AWS, you might not be familiar with CloudFormation. CloudFormation is just infrastructure as code. So we just worked in the console and we did everything basically from a GUI, right, to create our Dynamo table. We actually could write that entire Dynamo table and all the properties that we set it up with as a CloudFormation template and deploy the CloudFormation template, and then CloudFormation would then go and provision that resource for us if we wanted to. So CloudFormation is a great tool, but what we found with developing serverless applications that we needed like a serverless specific template, because serverless applications tend to have some of the same components and same resources every single time you build them. And that is SAM. So SAM is an extension of CloudFormation. In addition, the SAM group also built a CLI. So now you can easily deploy, package up, run locally your serverless app, basically do everything you need to do with the SAM CLI. And we are going to use the SAM CLI today to run our app locally and test with like Postman, or you can test with curl if you love your terminal.
So you're saying instead of having to upload the files every single time to my S3 bucket, SAM does that?
That's right. So you just call SAM package.
I see.
And it will upload everything to S3, and then if you call SAM deploy, it will deploy the entire stack for you. And by stack, I mean you might have a Lambda function. You might have a Dynamo table that you added into your SAM template. You might just did it all at once. We didn't. I just did it for you. You might have an API gateway endpoint to trigger your Lambda. That's something that's going to be in our SAM template. So there are different pieces to a serverless app that you might always have, and then you might have additional stuff, like maybe you created an SQS queue for queuing, maybe you created another service. And so you can write a SAM template, which I'm going to show you what it looks like to make this a lot less confusing and more visual, to easily deploy serverless applications. So yeah, just really quickly, just to tell you about the SAM CLI.
So it's essentially an IDE in like CLI form, or is that not a good way to look at it?
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's kind of just like a framework tool. It's like,
because I was always wondering
it's like a framework and it's a CLI tool, right?
But I can test it basically like in the serverless way, in the sense that it will like load it onto a Lambda function for me, right?
Yeah, so basically what it does locally is it just loads a Docker container that's very similar to the Lambda environment.
I see.
And then it mimics exactly what you would experience in Lambda. So if you have like Lambda specific issues, you can a lot of times take care of them locally before you deploy.
Right, because the only way before was essentially to write like a test payload, and then you'd have to upload your code, and then in Lambda use the test payload,
or just deploy it
to run it,
because you can always test it, because production equals dev in serverless world.
Right. So Brandon actually just said in chat, think of it like the Twitch dev rig, which I think is a good way to think about it.
Yeah, that's a great way to think
about it. So it's just like a local tool to help you build your serverless apps. I wonder if it'll ever sort of exist in more of an IDE, like an integration with like PyCharm or something.
I don't know, maybe. The SAM team is working on a lot of this stuff, so we'll see what they come out with. But these are the 4 main commands. I'm showing them on my screen. If you do SAM init, you can indicate a runtime. So you can actually create a SAM project where it'll create the template for you and everything you need out of the box to create a serverless application just by having the SAM CLI installed and typing SAM init. And then if you want to specify a runtime like Python or Node or .NET or any of the runtimes that we support, and remember, you can have your own runtime, bring your own runtime, it's a new thing. But if you wanted to use the ones that we support, you can just do SAM init -- runtime and specify. You can do local. We're going to use SAM local today. We're actually going to use SAM local start API. This is the command that we're going to live and die by. And then when we're ready to package and deploy, we can do SAM package and then SAM deploy. And I'll show you guys how that works. But we're actually going to use a plugin. So I want to create a Node.js using Express serverless application. Yep. So there is an awesome plugin written by AWS Labs again, and he's going to post this link in chat. And it's super easy to get started. And we're going to just take their basic starter example and clone it to create our initial application. And we're going to work off that. And you're going to see how easy it is to basically get a serverless application up and running and deployed in like under a minute.
Serverless Express, right?
Yep.
Okay. Coming in chat now.
Okay, so like there's only 4 steps to actually get this going. Super easy. So let's steal this.
That's a lot of text though.
I'm going to simplify it. It's
so all we're doing is we're cloning the code.
All we're doing is we're cloning this project, and we're just going to configure it and deploy it and set it up, and then we're going to run it locally and start actually adding in our endpoints that we just talked about.
Very cool.
Right now, I'm just in the repo, so He posted the repo, I think, in the beginning. So
I just posted it again.
Yeah, just in my machine, in my projects, in...
it is actually Ask Caster based on feedback.
Based on your request, but my computer doesn't know that. So I'll go back and change the name at a later point. But for now, let's just, let's clone this guy. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Let's open this up in code. And let me get a terminal up in here. So I just want to show you guys really quickly what this gives us. So if we open package.json, they wrote a lot of scripts for us that we could take advantage of using NPM. So a ton of stuff in here. Feel free to like go through and figure out what each one does, but they're pretty self-explanatory. You know, delete stack is going to delete your entire serverless application. NPM start is going to run it locally, just as you expect. Configure, we're going to actually configure our app right now because our template, which they named it cloudformation.yaml, but it is a SAM template because it has this transform right at the top. So you can see all these resources that are designated in this template. So it's going to create an API gateway endpoint, and the definition is this other YAML template that they've given us. It's going to create an IAM role to execute our Lambda. A lot of permissions are in here, and so you see this big thing in here. It looks like we're going to need to replace that, doesn't it? And that's what they wrote that config script for. So we're going to run npm config to actually swap out some of these values with the values that we actually want. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you can take a look in a lot of these files. I'll take a look for you. So this is just your Express Node app. Like, you know this stuff if you've worked with Node and Express. We're not going to use a view engine. This is an API, so we don't need that. Probably delete that. Could delete this. We can clean this up, but basically we're going to go in here and we're going to actually hit Dynamo from this app. This is just to run it locally. This lambda.js file is what actually is going to invoke the Lambda when it gets up into the cloud in Lambda. They give us the SAM logo because who doesn't love how cute SAM is? Like, it's adorable. And then like there's the README from like the GitHub with all the information in it. And we actually need this. I'm going to steal it from here because it's easier to see it. This config.
How does the script, though, access your AWS account? You gave it keys?
So it is not going to access my... Well, it is going to access my AWS account, but we're going to give it the account ID, the bucket, the region, and the function name. And then if you go into scripts, there is a configure.js, and you can take a look at this if you really want to. It's just going to go through... All the configure does is it just replaces the values that I'm giving it as parameters in the 3 YAML files that it needs to. So the 3 YAML files are the simple proxy API. So it needs to replace, look, your AWS region. You see that right there? That's going to be replaced. So you can actually go through and find the things that it's going to replace. It's going to replace all the values in the CloudFormation YAML that need to be replaced, like right here. That's one of them. No,
but I'm saying, how does the script control your AWS account without the keys? Doesn't it need your AWS?
Oh, yeah, secret? But they're locally, like in my .user file. So,
I see.
Yeah, it can pull them.
They're like and in your bash profile.
Yeah, they're also going to replace it in my package.json file. So by running npm config, they've written a nice script for us that replaces all the values at once. And who doesn't love that? It just helps me work faster and get this up and running faster. So let's paste that in. Whoops, did I not copy it? I failed. All right, copy.
You could, though, just replace it right there. But you're saying this script will just overwrite the values.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
So I'd have to go into all 3 files and replace it. Right. And this is just going to overwrite them all.
But now you need to actually put your account ID in.
That's right, I do. And how do I get my account ID? I'm just going to go and make a CLI call to STS, and I'm going to do get caller identity.
That is fancy.
Look, there's my account ID.
I didn't know you could do that.
And my account ID is something that can be publicly shared, so like, don't worry. It's only my access key and secret, which I'm not going to pull up for you. Sorry, you're on your own, guys, on that one. But you don't need to pull them up. They're not necessary to set this up. If you already have a .aws file, or you've used any tool to set up AWS before, or called AWS when you set up the AWS CLI and you call AWS configure, it will do all that for you. All right, so let's replace the account ID. We need a bucket name. Now, if I don't have a bucket created, it will actually create one for me. So I don't need to worry about making an additional call to create a bucket or going into the console. We just need to come up with a bucket name. What do you want to call it?
Ask a
caster. See if that's available.
Right, so this is global across all AWS accounts, right?
Put a dash in. How's that?
Yeah. Otherwise, that could be our competitor.
Do we have a competitor out there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the region is going to be US West 2.
Which is Oregon, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I like to use that one because it's closest to Seattle, which is where I live. And we do a lot of filming from the Bay Area, so.
Makes
all right,
sense.
function name.
So this is the Lambda function name.
This is the Lambda function. Okay. I think it should be the same thing. Why not? All right, let's run it. All right, so now it is just taking those 3 files that I listed for you, the simple proxy API YAML, the CloudFormation YAML, and the package.json, and editing it with my info. And look, I have package.json open, and you just saw the values populate. So now, the next thing we need to do is we need to run setup, which is another value that script that they wrote for us that basically runs npm install and then creates the bucket for us if it doesn't exist. And that's a really simple command. So let's do it. Struggle.
Seems like some folks are asking about the resolution. So if you click the gear in Twitch and you click quality, you should be able to change it to source. No, I think like
zoom in a little bit.
I don't think that's the problem, but that's probably too big. Yeah, it's potentially the input.
Oh look, we got an error. How fun!
That is fun.
Failed at the deploy script. Cool. What? Oh, I know why it failed.
The Twitch dev community loves solving issues like this. So if you actually make the input more visible, our team, can get to work.
It's because I need to change the stack name.
Oh, okay.
I think I need to change it other places too. I should have listed that as a parameter.
Looks like our viewers are actually taking up all the buckets with anything regarding Ask a Caster. Any variation.
Seriously?
They're taking up the whole namespace.
Is that what happened to me?
Man, they're gonna pollute it for all future Q&A apps.
All right, so there's a couple of things I needed to change. I think you can send in the CloudFormation stack name as a parameter when you make that initial config, but I didn't do that because I'm struggling this morning. So yeah, this is what we have to do. We have to go through and find all the instances where
they found the error. The name has a bracket in it.
What?
I knew our viewers would come through. So Ask a Caster has like an extra bracket. So just Command F for a right bracket. Yeah. I just don't know where that is. Wow, thank you to whoever found that.
Here.
A bunch of people.
I got it.
That's my favorite part about live streaming is that everyone
that
is
config
so
file
fast.
doesn't work as cool as we thought it did.
But why don't you put a new config file and then run the script again?
Hold on, I can just edit it, basically.
Okay. While we are fixing that, so today we are in LA, in the Santa Monica office. I know last week we were in the SF studio, right?
We were.
And next week we'll be in New York. So if you tune in next week, we'll be in the New York studio at Twitch.
Let's try this again.
There we go.
Yeah, but did we get that far last time?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, waiting for chain set to be created.
Oh. So let's talk through what's happening. It's uploading to S3.
Okay, so it's uploading to CloudFormation, and CloudFormation is going to create all the resources that we need, including the Lambda function, and it actually deploys it this first time. Oh, or it failed. Come on.
It's okay.
I really wish I slept more. Okay, failed. Transform failed with invalid serverless application specification document. Really? Where else is it like?
It's saying it must be alphanumeric. I don't think you can have the dashes.
Oh, the dashes. Okay. Fine. Let's just change it.
Also, I never said we were going to be coding in Python, did we? Someone asking in chat.
Nope.
That we did not promise.
We said this was going to be in JavaScript. That's the bucket name.
That should be fine.
This is not like the function name?
Oh. We're also being told to look at package.json.
It's kind of weird.
Could you go to package.json?
Yep.
There's another... Or you're in it.
I'm in it.
Can you use Visual Studio Code to find and replace all ask-caster to ask-a-caster?
Okay, there should only be one with dashes, and that should be the bucket name.
Okay, it's fixed now.
Okay.
We got the seems good.
Now it's good.
Can we get some seems good in chat?
Well, we're going to run this locally right after we actually successfully deploy it for the first time.
Yay, we're getting all these seems good. Isn't that nice?
That's awesome. Thanks, guys, for the additional help.
It would be cool if AWS and Twitch Dev could get their own emote set.
Yeah.
And then we could be like debug fixed, you know. I feel like I could come up with a lot of emotes.
I love it when I get live programming assistance. It's the best. It's like, you know, when you're like playing a video game and you like... somebody's watching you that's already played the game and they're like, hey, look at the blue chest over to the left.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not... That, like, ruins it, though.
Kind of, but then you get something that you weren't going to get before. I feel like I get a lot of value out of it.
This is definitely...
I notice things that I may not have noticed or, like, look for things faster. Because you guys have eyes everywhere. This is funny because it's, like, still giving an error.
Yeah, we need some emotes. Does anyone have any ideas in chat for if we were able to do emotes? Oh, nice.
All right, so to run this thing locally, we're just going to...
But just so I understand, if you were to go to the AWS console right now, this infrastructure would all be there.
That's right.
Wow.
Did you want to see it?
I sort of do. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Okay. All right, let's go to AWS. So if we go to Lambda...
It should essentially be there. Now, is API Gateway going to be set up?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. This is so cool. Yeah,
what do we call it?
I didn't know about that script.
Am I in the right region?
See, that's what I'm worried about.
No. It does work. I swear.
Well, I think you need to remove the keywords.
Here we go.
Let's just look for it manually.
Yeah, I'm just going to manually look for it.
You only have 14 functions. Ooh, that's awkward.
Where did it go?
You did say US West 2, right?
All right, let's go to
maybe it gave it a different... Because
maybe
we'll
it's
see the logs
still working on it. It succeeded.
Let's look at the last... Oh, this is all one.
Yeah, I gotta find it.
No, but it's just... What's the date today?
The date is 3-something. Did it create something in the other region?
Well, that's US West 1. Yeah, that's it.
No.
No?
No, that's old. I can tell.
Kidding. It did say Serverless Express.
Am I going crazy? Did I not say that it succeeded? Successfully packaged.
But did it run the CloudFormation script?
All right. Let's do it again.
Maybe you do like dash V.
Okay, hold on. Where is that package.json? Setup. npm install gets the bucket, and if it doesn't exist, it creates the bucket. See? Run create bucket. Run package
But where's
deploy.
the function?
Yeah, okay, let's see what happens when we do this. So if we run package deploy, it's going to actually package it up and deploy it, which were 2 commands from Sam that I showed you, but this guy already wrote a script that does everything for you.
But shouldn't it complain now that the function's already been created?
No, because it'll just update like the existing stack. That's what it's supposed to do.
Can we get a drum roll?
Successfully packaged.
But what's the name of it?
Deploy. Okay, look, see? Execute the following command to deploy. It's already doing this for us.
Right, but what's the name of the function?
Well, it should be what we gave it.
Which was what? I just forget what we gave it.
The CloudFormation stack name is Ask-a-Caster, and the function name is Ask-a-Caster.
That's what the function name is. Thanks for the drum roll.
Successfully created an update stack. Ask-a-Caster.
So it created the stack, but you don't need to run the stack? Like, I think it just put the...
Am I, like, hallucinating?
I don't know.
Wait,
so
did I indicate...
I think you gave it...
Oh my god, it's US East 1.
Oh, gosh.
How did that happen?
Okay.
Oh, I didn't change the region.
Yeah.
When I ran...
I thought you like Oregon, you live in Seattle.
Okay, look, there it is.
Okay. That's exciting.
It finished. Okay, so now if we go to Lambda in this region, I had a feeling it was a regional thing because I was like...
A good old region issue. What's everyone's favorite region? I'm curious.
So many region.
Mine is probably
How many times have you actually caught a bug and realized that you were like in the wrong region or...
I think that happens all the time.
So many times. All right, so here's our Lambda function right there. Look, API gateway is already set up.
Oh, wow, and there's a visual now.
And CloudWatch Logs is set up automatically by default.
Cool. So I think everyone's been waiting to actually see some code, so I think we're finally there.
Let's do it. Let's run this guy locally.
This is just like boilerplate API code, right?
This is going to spin up the Docker file to simulate.
Right.
Oh, it's because I have to rename this.
It's cool to see how in the Twitch dev channel, a lot of the Twitch developers know AWS really well.
That is really cool. All right. So now it is starting up my Docker container, and you can see that it is starting it up on port 3000 right here. And so now we can actually test hitting this from Postman or curl or whatever is your jam.
Eric Hammond says US East 1 usually has new features and services first.
That's true.
It's actually the first region, right? Like the oldest region?
That I'm not sure about.
I think it's the biggest. I think it's fair to say it's the biggest region. I think.
So it looks like there's a already like given route in here called SAM, and it just like returns the logo.
Oh, so that's great.
Yeah.
So if you go to that URL /SAM, we should see.
Right.
Is it a
chipmunk? So if we just go, let's just steal.
But you could go in the browser, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
This is always scary. Oh, there it is.
Working. Okay. Let's actually hit our Dynamo table.
Oh.
So what we need to do first is we need to install the AWS SDK NPM package.
Say that again. What with Dynamo?
We're going to actually hit Dynamo now from our app.
Yes. So I was very curious. So I think Dynamo has a Node SDK, right?
We're going to install the JavaScript AWS SDK, and then we're going to be able to hit it through there. So all we're going to do...
And the keys are baked into the Docker container.
The keys for our our access key and secret. So locally, remember, it's pulling from my .aws user credential file that gets set up. If you set up the AWS CLI or you set up any CLI with us, it will set that up automatically for you, or you can go in and create it. There's plenty of documentation online for how to do that. When it's up in Lambda, it doesn't need my access key and secret.
Because you gave it a role.
Yeah.
And the role has access to Dynamo.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do Dynamo. Actually, it probably should be lowercase.
Why is that?
I don't know. Keep with the theme of everything was lowercase. I like to use the document client.
I see. So this will let us basically run the different functions.
Our table is actually in West 2, so we're going to have to indicate a region because now everything is in US East 1 due to my screw up. Apologies.
Oh, wow. So the serverless app in North Virginia is going to go all the way to Oregon just to get the questions and bring it all the way back.
I will fix that later, but for the purposes of continuing on, really should have had like some matcha this morning because big struggles. Okay, so now we actually have Dynamo set up, and I'm just going to pull something off of the docs, which I have up here. So this is our API reference for our AWS SDK for JavaScript. Super handy if you like building in Node and you also like using AWS. We're just going to go directly to DynamoDB. And we've already set it up, so that's great. Look, it tells you how to set it up right here also. And you can configure it with different API versions if you'd like. I like the document client, so that's the one I'm using. You do not have to use the document client. So let's see. All we want to do is we want to get the questions first, right? Let's do the get first. So
yeah, let's just make it, yeah, sure. It's going to be more than just an item though, right?
Yeah, it is.
So it could be multiple.
It's a query. You need to go back. What?
So some people are confused about serverless. So there is a server involved. It's just that you're not actually maintaining it or really thinking about it in terms of a traditional server. Your code just runs somewhere in US East 1.
Here's our sample code. So it's taking params. It can take expression attribute values. So in this case, they basically are saying the condition that they want to return all the values for is artist equals whatever colon v1, and then they defined colon v1 to be no one you know. So the artist name is no one you know.
That's really interesting.
And then they're going to return, so in a table of music, they're going to return all the songs with that artist, which is similar. What we want to do, we want to return all the questions with that user. So let's copy this. Back to code. All right, so first thing is we actually don't need a lot of these calls. So let's clean this up a little bit and get rid of this.
You can just comment them out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so this one should be questions or questions by user. What do you want the endpoint to be?
Just questions is fine.
Okay. And then let's actually put our Dynamo call in a separate function. Let's do get questions, if I can spell, by user. It's an async call. Paste that in there. And now we have to like edit this
So let's configure this.
Yeah. So we have to pass in a user ID also.
Yep.
Oh wait, I'm dumb. Hold on. I did not do that right. That's what I meant to do.
But wait, I guess the one thing that is confusing actually about the endpoint is questions by channel ID or user ID. I think we can just build in a way that it can
both. Yeah. We're going to need both. So we're just starting with questions by user first.
Right.
And then we're going to need a way to pull the broadcaster questions, which is questions by channel.
But why can't we write this in a way that actually supports both? Because if you pass in a user ID, shouldn't the underlying... Oh, no, because it uses a different partition key.
Yeah.
Like a different key. Got it.
It's going to be a different query. The query is going to look different. Okay, so the table name... What was our table name? Okay, I'm losing my mind.
It was... I forgot.
Yeah, okay. So you forgot.
Just make sure to change regions.
Yeah, I'm going... Wait, no. I'm going back to here.
Yeah, so it was US West 2.
And I need to go to Dynamo. Twitch_questions. Let's actually just make that a constant.
That's smart.
Cool. Okay. So now we can use that in here.
Ah.
Okay. Key condition expression. So this is just going to be user ID. And then this is just the parameter.
The string is the user ID. Yep.
Yeah.
User ID.
What is projection expression? I don't remember that property. So it gives you like a million different things you can pass in. let's just scroll down to the actual text. Okay, table name.
Can you search for it?
When we search by channel ID, we're actually going to use this index name because we're going to query an index. Let's see, attributes to get, key conditions.
What was it called? Projection expression.
Maybe it's just the attributes that I want to get back, but I want to get back all of them.
There,
so.
I just searched for it. It is a string that identifies the attributes you want. To receive a single attribute, specify its name. To
receive them all back, you have to list them.
Oh, it's basically...
Yeah, like which things do you want back?
Like the select in the SQL.
Yeah, like which things do you want back?
So that's a really good... Is there like a notion of just like everything, like star?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Does it say?
Yeah. Oh. I don't think there is, but you can basically write... Well, why don't we just explicitly write them out? So we want the question.
Yeah, I think you have to just write them out.
So we want the question,
we want the user ID.
I bet you though if you don't provide it, it just gives you everything.
The channel ID.
And then you have the comma separate them. Okay, you're doing that.
Yep. We'd want the answer back if there was an answer.
Definitely. Yeah, that's fine for now.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. We don't need this. You know, usually with, all right, let's just try this. Let's give it a go. So what we need to do is we need to say, we need to call get question by user.
And then do you want to just print it to console for now?
Yeah. How do we want to pass in the user ID as a param, right?
Yep, definitely.
Wow, I can't type today. Does that look okay to you?
Yeah. Will that print it in the console?
This should just return it to us.
Oh.
We're just gonna like
see it in the
spin
browser.
up the.
So this should return what you put into the Dynamo table, which was the example with your information.
The one question.
And you asked, how do you build a serverless app?
Yeah. Should, hypothetically, if we don't get an error. But you never know. This is real life coding for you.
Oh, someone's saying your battery's about to die.
Really? Oh, you're right.
Wow.
Thank you.
People are very helpful.
People are really nice. You guys are really, really nice to me. All right, so we're going to spin up the Docker container so that we can actually test this endpoint.
So now if you go to...
It's a get.
And then you have like a post.
Yeah, I got Postman open, and I'm just going to do our route.
And then you'll put the key user ID?
Yep.
Okay. And then you just put your name, right?
Yeah, it's just my my Twitch user, which is just...
We need to look that up. It might be the Twitch user ID as an actual ID.
It's an actual number, you mean? And
I'll have to look.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can always just restore the data. It's not a big deal.
Twitch actually changed that really recently.
Let's see if we get anything back. Nope.
We get a nice error.
I need to say...
Yeah.
Struggle. Okay, so I actually don't have to restart the Docker container if I changed my code. It's actually just going to do it for me, which is great.
There's a question in the AWS channel that is unanswered. Do you need the async keyword on get questions by user? I'm not sure where that function is.
Isn't that how you call a param? No, it's not in the body. Where is it?
Oh, you're dealing with the error.
Yeah, it's that.
We could just print request and see what it looks like.
No, I just I tried to reference the parameter wrong.
Did you hear the other question?
What was the other question?
Do you need the async keyword on get questions by user?
Possibly. Do you just, where does it go? What is the syntax for this? I'm sorry, I'm not.
You're using the new arrow function.
Does it go here?
No, I think it goes at the front.
Like here? No, that's wrong. It's not like, I think it goes here.
Yeah, that at least.
Yeah, does that look right? Okay, so then we actually have to call, or no, we don't. We should call await here. You could totally do this differently, like I've done this differently, where you just do a try catch and then you do await.
Yeah, this will be fine.
I could rewrite it because it might not work actually.
Yeah, my whole promises are still very confusing.
I sometimes have days where I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing, and then there's just a lot of other days where that doesn't happen. How do you catch the error? The biggest problem for me is that I literally, I get confused between .NET and
JavaScript?
Yeah, because I do .NET so much. Okay. That should be good.
Although there's I think you need, well, you could put semicolon right there.
Here.
But that shouldn't give you an error.
I think that's actually how you have to call it. I'm like,
no, this should work.
100% positive.
Let's see. Oh, well, we're not, Aiden says we're not returning the data, which is true. See, so that was good, but.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get an internal server error this time.
But we need to return the data after the promise. So go back to, like, we're just printing the data. You're not returning it or anything.
Oh, got it.
You should put it back into the JSON. You said request dot, yeah, return. Yeah.
I don't need to console log it. Yeah, look. Wait, no. Did it print? Technically, it would console log. Oh, look, here's the response.
200, but body's empty.
Yeah. All right, let's...
So now it's probably an issue with our query itself. I think the API is working just fine.
Okay, yeah, it's empty.
Oh, and just for a time check. So today's episode has to be an hour, right? Okay, yeah. So we only have a few
We're going to try to go longer in future episodes since we are live coding.
Yeah, we want to do like an hour and a half to 2 hours normally.
But today we have to cap it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just need to figure out what the heck I'm doing.
So let's just trace through it. I can help. I'm having trouble seeing the...
You can't see?
Okay, now I can. Well... I just want to check your query because it looks like the problem is that it's just... Yeah, so...
Is the user ID...
Can I just see like what the column name is?
Yeah, I feel just checking that.
It's probably an underscore.
It is an underscore.
Okay, and that's what you
So that's what I have right here.
Okay, and you've underscore there. And then you're searching for the string user ID that we pass in.
Log these. That's not going to help, is it? So this will be the same freaking object.
Should we ask the chat for help, or do we want to try?
This is going to print nothing. It's just going to print an empty body with the response. Must include.
But I'm confused.
Returned an invalid response. Oh, in the response object. Oh, that's because the data was empty.
Oh, you need to resolve the promise.
What? Okay.
Because you're basically...
1 second. I've literally written this before, so I'm just gonna like go to code I've written.
Someone asks, how often are these sessions going to be? It is every Wednesday at this time, 10 a.m. Pacific, for the next 6 weeks. So we'll be having another episode.
Nope, that's exactly how you do it. I know.
But the problem is, so you're passing the parameters in, and then...
No, that's like the same way I did it before. Oh, async. That's something I didn't do.
What? Oh, so it was never...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a theory.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Aiden. I'm looking at your gist.
That was the problem? No, it wasn't. I can't even back. Let me go back to my code.
Can I just see your code?
Yeah, you can see my code.
Let me see if I can take a look. Okay, so I just want to trace through it.
This is exactly how you write it, though.
So, okay, so
this query might be wrong.
Yeah, I just think the query is the problem because it's returning correctly.
Okay, go down. Okay.
I haven't written these queries. I'm a little confused. So this is the user ID that we are telling it we want to look for. It's a string.
Yep.
And then this is basically matching here.
Yep.
Okay, and this is saying find me user ID.
Yep.
And then return these things. And table name is defined to Twitch questions. Is there a way to look at like Dynamo logs to see what Dynamo's doing?
First let me just see if I can like figure out what's happening.
Aiden says query is fine, go back to the route declaration.
The route declaration.
Yeah, so that is right here. Let's see. Wait, just keep it there for a second. So is the problem that we need to wait for it? Await?
Since we added async, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Aiden.
Come on.
Yay.
Well, we got an internal server. It's a
Is
step.
that progress?
That's progress.
So now it's a problem with the query?
Let's see if we can see anything.
I was not expecting that.
Okay, validation exception. One or more parameter values were invalid.
See, one of our emotes could be internal server error. Can we get an internal server error in chat?
All right.
Let's try to...
I think you can actually just do a get. I don't think you actually need to do a query since the user ID is the partition key. I think I did this wrong.
No.
Yeah, I think you could just do a get.
So I wanted to get all the endpoints up, but I think we took longer talking about Dynamo. So let's try to today just get the question to return, and then we'll pick up next week, and we can continue this conversation in the Discord. I will talk through
stealing my own code.
Some closing announcements while you fix that for everyone. So in case you just joined, we have a Discord channel for Twitch Dev chat, and one of the channels in this Discord group, I should call it Discord server, is the name of the show, and you guys can chat about the show, and we will post the code. Is there a Dynamo DB?
Did I get another validation exception?
Oh.
Provided key element does not match the schema. What?
Someone asked, whoever runs the show thought it was a good idea to split chat audiences to 2 channels. So that's a good question. Honestly, like, it's just something we're exploring. I don't think we've actually done that before. The reason that I think it's an interesting idea is we have really committed Twitch dev community as well as an AWS community. We're trying to bring both these communities together. A lot of folks who are part of Twitch Dev don't really know a ton about the AWS ecosystem, and I think vice versa. So the idea was, let's try to bring these both communities together. So honestly, feedback in chat would be helpful. If it's too confusing with 2 different channels and chat sort of doesn't feel like one place, we could sort of figure something out. Maybe we'll just do one channel or create a new channel for the show. So let us know. But yeah, let's log the requests.
Well, I want to see what it's actually sending because it's claiming that the...
But is there a way to see what Dynamo's trying to do, like a Dynamo log?
Undefined. Okay, well, we have a bigger issue.
So here we go. The key element does not... So that's a very helpful error message.
It's this. Okay, how do you get the params?
Yeah, so there was a conversation about making one channel and hosting. The problem is you don't get the go live notification if you host. So if AWS hosted Twitch Dev, you don't get the go live notification, which is helpful because a lot of people could miss the show. But anyway, that's a side conversation we can have in the Discord channel. I don't want to have 2 siloed chats, so that is something we should talk about.
It's like that.
Okay, do you want to talk through quickly how you fixed that? Because I was talking about something else.
So basically,
let's see if it works.
I was calling the wrong.
Yay!
Yeah, I was
High five.
No, that was my fault. So I was basically calling the wrong way to get the. I thought you call the request.params. It's actually request.query to get the actual query string. My bad. Sorry, it's been a while. So yeah, so what I can actually do is I can just return .item so that it's just the object. That's only going to get one though. We might have to go back to my other query.
So that will be a problem. Yeah. So let's add a second one for fun.
Well, look, I just commented it out, so we can go back.
Okay.
Now that we know that
it would be nice to end the stream today with this one endpoint working. We're running pretty low on time. Everyone's really supportive of you, by the way. They're saying that happens.
Thanks, guys.
So, anyway, let's table the conversation about two different chats going on at once since we're low on time. I do want to think about that, and I'm going to bring this to the team. But we can have this conversation in the Discord channel.
That one didn't work.
Let's do this. Let's leave it with the way you did last time, and then we'll push this to GitHub. We can work on it, and then we'll be live next week. Because we should probably wrap up.
I will fix that query. I don't know why it's not working. It should work.
So let's switch the view maybe off your laptop, and we can say our closing remarks. We're running low on time. I know you want to keep coding.
I do want to keep coding.
I actually see that we need to leave. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining. We will be back next Wednesday in New York, same time. Join our Discord channel and follow us on our Twitch channels for updates.
We're building the front end next week in Vue, so we're actually going to start building the Twitch extension itself and not just the back end.
Yes, we will focus on all aspects of the
I will finish the rest of these endpoints and I will get them in the GitHub repo and we will tweet about it.
Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed this and see everyone later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Guys.